No, I think some of them get it probably more so than others. Guys like LONZO that grew up in LA. I think if you grew up in either one of these cities, you're probably pretty well schooled on the rivalry. But for some of these young guys, they probably don't know much about it.
Do your memories go back to when you were here as a kid with your dad, and then mixed into the ones when you switched sides as a player? What jumps out at you first when you think about it?
Just what a great rivalry it is. Two of the best organizations there are, and what a unique circumstance my dad and myself are in within that rivalry. Obviously, him playing here, me playing for the Lakers, but obviously him cheering for his son and me as a kid cheering for my dad. So we were on both sides of it, but it's pretty special to be part of.
Hey, for tonight's game, Horford has been playing so well for them. What does that loss do for them, and how do you make sure that there's not that sometimes typical thing in the NBA where you relax if a good guy and the other team is out?
Because one, Horford he's been incredible so far this season. His playmaking has been really big for this team. But I think Boston is one of those teams that's going to play their same way no matter what, with injuries, filling guys in. They've already had to mess with their starting lineups because of the injury a little bit earlier in the season. So they're going to be fine, and we're in no place to think that just because one guy's hurt that we don't have to play as hard if we want a chance to win the game.
What has impressed you the most about JAYSON Tatum you've seen on film?
One, how quickly he's figuring out the NBA game. I think he's shooting like 80% from the corner three right now, which I remember what it was like coming in, and that it seemed really far when you come from college to the NBA and try to shoot those threes. So the fact he's shooting that so well already is impressive, and he just seems to really, have a great way about him. He's not. It doesn't seem a lot of young players come in and they try to rush and force things and they get sped up. He seems to just be playing at a nice, comfortable pace while he's out there.
With Lonzo, you've coached him now through training camp and the first part of the season. The ball movement, getting the ball up the floor is so impressive. But what about him? The actual coaching him and.
Well, the way he plays the game and the way I want to coach the game is very similar, and it's an unselfish brand. It's an up-tempo brand of basketball. He's a special player where he naturally just wants to get his teammates involved. He naturally just wants to do whatever it takes for his team to win, and he's not concerned with the hype of scoring 20 points or what the media is going to say about him. And the ironic thing is, because he plays that way, the media talks about him every single day, and we drafted him #2. So maybe a lesson to be learned by young point guards out there. But he's a lot of fun to have around every day.
What have you done to help him through the hype stuff? It's, a lot of extraneous stuff out there in his situation.
A lot of that credit goes to him, honestly. We're there for him. I'll ask him, check in on him. I know Magic talks to him. But a lot of that goes to just who he is. And, even today with all the stuff going on, he said he's good. He's like, Coach, I'm ready to play. And that's it. And when he talks, you believe him. So a lot of it is just who he is as a young man.
Have you gotten many pointers from his dad yet?
No. I've had some talks with his dad. He's a nice man. I enjoy the conversations with him. But as far as pointers, that's decisions our coaching staff is making.
Facetious. Sorry.
That's all right.
Luke, your dad's has his share of opinions that sometimes are out there a little bit. How were you able to deal with it when you were a player, and even when you were in Arizona?
Right. The best way is just realize he's his own man. I'm my own man, and I'm not gonna. I don't expect to be judged on things my dad does or say, and I think that was the same with me. I'm gonna make my own mistakes, and that doesn't mean that my dad failed as a father. It's just we're our own individuals. So that's just how I dealt with it best.
Defensively, how are you guys doing?
Well, great. Way further ahead than I thought we'd be, honestly. I mean, it's been our #1 topic all training camp and all season so far, is becoming much better on the defensive end. We've been a bottom 3 defensive team for 4 or 5 years now. So it's nice to get out of that cellar, even though, you know, I know it's early and we got a lot of more work to do, and it gets harder now with the less and less practice time to maintain those things that we drill every day in training camp. But these guys they're competing, and they're fighting, and they're trying to figure it out. They want to be good on defense, so it makes that part of the game a lot of fun to coach.
Luke, Julius has had a lot of success in that backup 5 spot that's been mostly new for this year, even though he played some last year. Are you still trying to figure out how to get him more minutes, or are you kind of comfortable with where he's been these last couple of weeks?
Well, he's playing well enough to get more minutes, but you know, most of it is just feeling out how the game's going. You know, I love him in that 5 spot role where he can switch and be so versatile for us. But the last couple of games, you know, Brooks been scoring 30 points and hitting 4 or 5 threes, so we got to get him out there too. So always looking for opportunities to get more minutes for players that are playing well. But it's not going to be predetermined. It's all going to be on the flow of the game and how things are going.